We got the start off. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of, I guess just analysis. There's no lot more to it, but we're gonna start off today with the NPL segment of things. We're gonna go over day 1 and 2 of week 3, was played this weekend, and then yeah, we'll get straight into it. And so, without further ado, let's just get started. I am always so bad at these. I think I need to write down like an intro segment where I prepare something, and then don't know what to say because this is always weird. So anyway, let's get started. Day 1, game 1. These games were played on Friday, I believe. Yes. And well, there you go. Playing is a Western one, meaning for teams that want to go far out on the Eastern side. Obviously, not going to be as easy, but should be doable nonetheless. Circle sent us up. Now, as an Eastern team, you have two options. A, you just want to, I mean, if you're, for example, if you're United, we know they like to split up and around here. If you're United, do you want to go over here to loot? Or do you just want to say, you know what, let's just drop down to farm and go over Milta? Obviously not going to be an option because Ghost is going to go there. But as United, do you want to just stick around or no? But as you can see, they're already in vehicles. They saw that VG are near and around, so not really any reason for them to do that. So I'm assuming that they will go up here. Space Station doing their loot. Wildcard, they're taking Prim side. Lasarius taking Millie. Noble, they're far up on the northern side. Oxy, they're up there. Envy, they're going to go over to Yas. Yeah, not a whole lot more to it, really. I mean, you could maybe see Noble want to go down. I'm not sure why they're dropping up here. Let's see what they do. Okay, so they go down. Actually, they... Okay, because now you have Smoking Aces in Ruins. This is a very interesting loot split that I haven't seen done in a very long time. Because one thing is when you land in this area, you can see that they flew down here straight away. So you have one hard spawn vehicle. I think it's around here somewhere. But Hetra, it seems like he took that. So that's now in Rossok. Then you have you have two vehicle spawns down here and one in the garage where Cherry Poppins is. But if they don't get any of those three spawns, I mean, they have Noble up on the northern side. They have White Sam Fade over here. There are no vehicles in all of this. Then they can run up here and hope that they get something. But I mean, fortunately now they're inside the circle. But if Smoking Aces looting here don't get vehicles, that's going to be a rough rotation. Because you pretty much have big open areas no matter where you want to go. You could try and run up towards Everest if that was, I mean, if the circle was western. But if it's east, you have to run through here. And you don't know if any of these houses are taken. So scariest place to drop, especially if you don't get yourself any guaranteed vehicles. Because even if you do get even if you do get a car up in the compound up here, then I mean, you don't want to rotate 4 guys in one vehicle, right? So let's see what ends up happening. Noble, they cut over. They started going down towards Ruins. It seems like they come looting their Crow. Obviously heard the buggy. There you go. Gets the knock onto Daculus as well. Fudge tries to swim over. Okay, so both for Noble and for Smoking Aces, not exactly the greatest start to a game, but at least now Smoking Aces has the buggy if they want to take it. Cloud9, they've rotated east. They've taken full control of the road up here. Ghost is trying to come up towards them, it seems like, but nope, not going to happen. Now they have a 2-2 split between the guys in Cloud9. Makes perfect sense. We talk about it all the time. Take up as much control as you can, and yeah, set yourself up in a better position for the circles to come. Shoot to kill going north over. Oxy going north around as well. Go away, fly. So they're going to come down from the northern side. Okay, so because the plane was as western as it was, we talked about how none of the teams would want to go far out east. That means that you have this entire... I can pretty much draw it down around Ghost, actually. This entire side of the circle is open, and teams will know this. So should the next circle hard shift east, I would expect to see a lot of teams try to make their way over there. The only issue is that Ghost has control of the double compounds down here, and Cloud9 is sitting like this. So they're pretty much doing... I mean, you can drive through, obviously, but you would want to drive far down on the southern side, maybe all the way down towards the gas station, actually, and then take the beach over. or you want to come in like way up and above and over on the backside of prisons, should the next circle hard shift east. But let's see how things turn out. But these are all things you have to consider when the circle is closing, or when you are in, for example, for Ghost, when they're sitting here, even though they have to sit and look around and try and scout what's available and stuff, they constantly have to sit, okay, if the circle goes here, what do we do? Okay, this is the plan. If the circle goes here, what do we do? Okay, this is the plan. If the circle goes here, I mean, you know what, just continuously process all the different scenarios so that you know that once the circle pops, boom, you immediately know what to do. It's not like you won't be in a, oh my god, oh, we weren't expecting this circle shift, now we have to figure out what to do, because by the time you figure it out, odds are that whatever place you wanted to go will be taken by other people. So circle goes south. Okay, pretty center. Still a little bit of military left, but that's going to be shifted out from very soon. So everyone's on the northern side. People obviously know that there are people down here because they've been shooting. So, and you can't really, that's the issue. You cannot drive safely through Lumber Mill, through this area up and around here where the square is. So you'd assume to see teams try to rotate all the way around down towards Milta, maybe take yellow houses down there, maybe go around and then try to go down here and take these houses. You would expect to see people going along the shoreline, trying to get either this compound or the two-way split down here. I would expect to see Lopes and Nerf come down towards Kmite and Profi, because farm is still open. And Kmite and Profi, they have to know this. So I would much rather, I mean, honestly, the split that they have right now, they would be better off throwing Kmite and Profi over in the top side of farm, or even Nerf and Lopes down there. And then you can't really cover this. So either drop them down there and then have Kmite and Profi over here, or because then they don't take up as much space, or just put Kmite and Profi over here instead. Then they could play from there and still hold each other. But let's see how teams decide to do. Endemic, they don't want to go through here. They know there's not a lot of space to really rotate in. Shoot to kill. They do make the safe rotation around down towards the monkey compound and then in towards Milta. And here comes Tempo Storm and Endemic. They're doing the exact same thing up on the northern side, to be expected. Coming in there, forced to fight out in the open. Unfortunate. Now new circle pops. And we can just rewind it a little bit, because you can see already before the circle pops, Frolicher is already in the vehicle going down. Shoot to kill doing the exact same thing from yellow houses, right? They're anticipating the farm shift. And they've both been sitting here. Frolicher's been sitting up here. He's been scouting down there saying, well, there's absolutely no movement in farm. And I don't even think anyone looted it either. So it might actually be completely open. So I'm just going to start driving. If the next circle doesn't go down here, then I can always turn around and go back. But Purdy sends it to the one isolated house. Cloud9, they say, you know what, we have to gang up now. There are still 57 people alive in the game. So let's get together. So they come down and around. You can see that actually pretty smart rotation from White Sim Fate here. They're coming from they're sitting up here on the top side. Circle shifts down south. And while that happens, they take a tour all the way around and actually comes down to the compound down here. Pretty nifty rotation for them. Of course, the next circle will shift away from water, so there's pretty much no way that their compound can be in. The circle could like just go down something like this, but okay, so it could maybe have the edge, but that would be the most southern shift that they could hope for. So now Cloud9 have 2-2 split down here, and Aloe and Purdy and company, they have a split here, and then all of Ghost is sitting in the northern side. Pretty smart positioning from them. White Sim Fake comes in from the side. And new circle pops. Where are we going? Boom. Okay, so we're going back up center. I guess Ghost are in a pretty good spot right now. I mean, it was either these two compounds or this one. They're both center. If the next circle goes south, this one is better. If the next circle goes north, this one would be better. I mean, that's one of those decisions you have to make. You cannot sit 2-2 split at this point in the game. There are so many teams, as you can see now, outside the circle that will have to sort of just crash into something, because you don't really have a lot to play from here. You have a shack down here. You have the wizard here. You have some areas up on the top with the wizard around there that you can play from. And you can maybe have one team on the backside of the hill. Then you have the garage in, but there's no one on that side of the road, so that's probably not going to be taken. And then you have the little dip down by the what do you call it, the shack down there, and there's a bit of a ridge line down here as well, but you can be seen from up here, so that's not going to be playable until Envy is forced out. So there's really not a lot to take from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams that have to make their way inside the circle. This is going to be a farm cluster, or it's going to be teams trying to take fights on the edge and then just sticking to those fights until chaos rains down on top of them, or they all die to the blue circle. Valiant and company, they want to rotate further around the side, maybe make that run up towards yellow. It's really fortunate timing for them. Due to kill, they decided to split the house and the shack. So Bahawaga can go back and pick up the vehicle. Lasarius, they got a knock now, and they're pulling up on it, it seems like. Well, at least they're going up to there's a bit of a ridge line down on the southern side of the house. New Circle Pups, I guess Ghost would have wanted to stay up here. It's a guessing game, you never know what's going to happen. Western side is all confrontations. People are forced to run in on foot and fight each other. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Bottlenecks becoming smaller and smaller. Makes perfect sense. VG, they're kind of trapped inside their little, what do you call it? Little wizard tower there. Lasarius and Cloud9 fighting on the southern side. They're forced to take a fight and they end up going down, all of them. Because, well, I mean, third party is the name of the game. And White Sim Fade's really good at that, so they won that fight. Actually, I think it might have been because, okay, so Cloud9 gets crashed by a wildcard. They eliminate them extremely quickly. Now they have to leave, and they know there are people up here, they know there are people in here, which means they cannot take their vehicles around. Where would they go? They cannot take their vehicles around because they've heard Lasarius shoot up on the hillside, so they're just peek on over and shoot them. So they decide to take their cars up the ridgeline, get out of them, start running, and then they just get steamrolled by Lasarius. In comes White Sim Fate, picks up the rest. I mean, not a whole lot more to it than that. Let me do this. There you go. Circle send us up once more. Shoot to kill. Want to crash over to the shack over here. See, we see company now playing the dip up here, but they're fortunately not getting contested by Envy because they have a lot of other stuff on their plate, I guess you can say. They're doing what they're doing. VG tries to play it safe. Circle once again goes north. Kind of feel bad for Ghost that they left that area, right? Razzle goes down. Balak all by himself in the field. Now not a whole lot he can do. Tries to make a run up. Not going to happen. Envy, they're just chilling inside the house. Petra still alive. Impressive that VG actually has all 4 people alive. They're cramped into the little shelter or little wizard down here. And they still somehow managed to get out of there alive. That is very impressive. Now they're trying, what you can see they're doing now, they don't want to sit over here, and they have the entire southern side that they can run around on, right? The hillside down from the compound where they can't see them from inside the houses. So what they're doing is that they're spreading out, they're taking control of the entire southern side of the circle, meaning that should the next circle exclude the compound, if it goes down here, then they're already in position. All they have to do is wait for Envy to be forced to make a move out from up there. So smart that they decide to take the entire southern hillside there. Really smart play. VG. Circle comes in. Oh, it's actually closing center, obviously. I'm dumb. It's the final circle. I get debated by it because it's bigger now than it used to be. But in the end, it seems like, yeah. It seems like Envy wins the game. They had the compound. The compound was in the end. It was pretty smart. They never got contested. That's the best thing for them. Because farm, I mean, you saw how many teams crashed like crazy people into the farm area. But it's so difficult to crash this compound because at any given time, will you be able to cover, like if you crash from this side, there's no door on this side. It's a garage compound, right? So if you try to run around and in, these guys can shoot. If you go around on the back side, then other teams will be able to engage that fight as well. And if you try to go in from the side here, they'll be able to shoot. The only place you can really crash it properly would be on this side and then jump in this window. But then I'm sure from up here they would be able to see as well. And then they would know exactly where you come in from. So it's a very difficult compound to crash, which means that while everyone else is getting crashed and fighting each other on the southern side, and because all these people on the northwestern side left their vehicle years ago, then they never really get contested up here. They can just sit tight until the very end. Nobody can really come down there and fight them because they're so busy fighting each other. And they get themselves a win off of it. So smart playing coming in from NV. Also impressive that VG actually managed to stay put till the very end there. Very good job by them as well. So that was game number 1. We will go straight into game number 2 as it is right here. I'll just change this up so people don't get confused. Day 1, game 2. And we'll drag it a little further to the right. There you go. We'll just refresh this one real quickly. Go. There you go. Solo it out. Replay. And I've also been wondering, I've been wanting to do, because the way that this setup is right now, like the way that it looks on your screen, let me know what you think if you have any comments to that. I want to make the screen that you're looking at bigger because there's no reason to have so much other stuff on the screen that I do right now. So I'm gonna simplify it a lot, making it easier for you guys to pay attention to what's going on. So anyway, with that said, plane, couldn't really ask for a more fair plane. You can go pretty much anywhere, unless if you're a military base team. Or Tierra Bronca, but I mean, if you're really gonna want to go up there, then you'll be able to get there anyway. 9 out of 10 times you won't get circles for it. So Northern Circle, we've seen this a lot of times. Easy rotations, only issue is you don't really want to drive through Picado area. This area here as well is a little tricky to drive through. I mean, you can come down here and go up, but it's going to be something you don't want to do before the very last sort of, if you're a noble coming in extremely late. But what you'd probably see people do is either come in from up here, go all the way over the northern side, or try and make their ways up around the western side and then make their way in either over El Pozo or by Crater Fields somewhere. Wouldn't expect to see a lot of traffic this way. Probably going around this side or this side instead. People getting looted up. Obviously, the entire northeastern side is not going to be looted. It's going to alleviate a lot of pressure for the guys making the rotations from up there. You see now Tempo Storm is going to make their way around. Noble and E United doing the exact same thing, but on the western side, as we just talked about. And we can do this because they're coming in really late. They don't want to drive through San Martin. They'll go around. They're going to run into other teams. This is a thing. I mean, when you have a circle center, we always talk about how teams want to be in the center early on. When you draw up the circle center here, one thing is that you have X amount of compounds available. Sure you do. But everything else is just really, really steep hills. You have them all over. Really, really high plateaus that are, first of all, difficult to hold when you're this early in the game because there can be teams anywhere. But when you have such a diverse terrain in the circle center, it means that not a lot of people can sit in there. And as you can see here, normally you would have, like, we can make this circle in the middle, maybe a little bigger like this, and you would have 90% of the teams in here. Now, first of all, because the rotations were tricky, a lot of towns you have to go around and stuff like that, and making those rotations longer, meaning you don't have that same concentration of players in the center. So when the new circle pops now, well, I mean, I guess you can say fortunately it's center again. But for these teams that are already in here, don't have to really go anywhere. For the teams that are trying to come in, it's going to be difficult to find a spot to go to because the room that you normally have, because everyone's sitting in the middle, it's not there anymore because people are spread a little thinner. And there are a lot of areas on the map that takes up a lot of space that you don't want to go to. San Martin, don't want to be stuck in there. This doesn't have a name, but I guess we can call it Crater Field 2. Down here doesn't have a name, but I mean, you don't really want to be stuck down there either. La Copraria on the top, you don't really want to go up there either. So a lot of areas, as I said, that take up a lot of space are kind of areas that you don't really want to play around. Let's see now. Teams coming in from the west, obviously. Nobody drives through a Pozo. Everybody knows that's dangerous. VG goes up to take position up here. We'll just slow it down a little. Noble coming from the northern side. They'll hope for a northern shift. because if they don't get it, I mean, they haven't really had a chance to scout anything. The only thing they know is that the road that they took here was safe. So should the next circle go south, I go center so they can push further in. I was gonna say, should the next circle go south, they could just say, you know, we'll tank blue to then get back to where we were before. It's still only circle 3 or 4, I mean. So you could try and, like, if you do it fast enough, take the road and then cut in by El Pozo or a little further down south. But fortunately for them, doesn't quite happen. Circle sent us up again, and then once again, we have this entire hillside here that you don't really want to be inside. You can play the sides if you're like on the top, but you don't want to be stuck inside down here. Well, I mean, at this point, you might have to because there are still 61 players alive. But no fights really forced to take place yet. Now we are going into, you call it the elephant? I have another name for this area. If you kind of draw up everything around here. I don't know. That's just something I've noticed. Oh yeah, the elephant. Yeah, it's an elephant. That's what I yeah. Oh yeah, it's an elephant, obviously. Obviously it's an elephant. I don't know. I guess we're different age, Dofus. I see other things. No, I'm just kidding. But nonetheless, one thing is that there's not a lot to play from here. I mean, there is, but having so many players alive, because teams haven't been able to rotate because of the difference in terrain here, it means that more people have stayed alive. There's less people center. As you can see, center is pretty much just a couple of players because there's nothing to take there. I mean, this entire hillside, if we draw it up like this, maybe at least over to this point, there are a few places you can sit up here behind rocks and what do you call them in English? Cacti? Cactus? Cacti in plural, I guess. But there's really not a lot to play from up here. Same thing going over on the hillside here. And the thing is, for teams that, I mean, you could play it, but the teams that would play it are the teams that are sitting down here. They already have compounds, so obviously they're not going to give them up to go up there. And for teams that are outside, they aren't just gonna, I mean, they might be forced to do it, but there's no way in hell they're gonna be like, oh, you know what, let's just smash it dead center on this hillside where there might already be players and we have to drive through like 3 compounds to get there. And we have to drive uphill in our buggies, so we're gonna go 10 kilometers an hour and we're gonna get exploded. I mean, teams won't do that. They'd rather just leave their vehicles on the edges and try to, fingers crossed, be able to push their way inside the circle on foot. Because going in anywhere on this hillside this late is gonna be, well, if not suicidal, then something close to it. Yeah, you can play outside, obviously, but you cannot just, I mean, you just cannot really sit. I mean, you can sit inside now because it's so late in the circle, but when we were 2 circles back and you didn't know whether you're gonna be in or not, it's very easy for people to contain you if you're sitting inside. Well, any of the fields, really, or craters. Oxy tries to send it down to the compound. Doesn't work. Still have 2 guys up. Endemic, they want to rotate around the northern side. They go down to the compound. They should be able to push in on foot from here. Yeah. See them leaving their vehicles. Ghost still in their cars, trying to figure out what they want to do. They go back. Now they... What is it with Ghost on Miramar? Honestly, it's the same thing as last week. What is it with Ghost on Miramar? They had the same thing happen in that game where they ended up on Graveyard. And they had the same thing happen the very next game where it ends up... It was down south around here somewhere. Where was that? It was down on the hill down here where Tempo Storm would win it from the church compound. But Ghost and Wildcard down here had like 3 hard shifts down towards them in a row. It's like every time Ghost is in a position where it's like, oh guys, this is lost. Feels bad, man. They just get these hard shifts over towards them. It's like, oh, I guess you're living for a circle more, because there's nobody on the northern side that can really contest them right now. So if they're, I mean, they could push up towards Oxy and try and take control of the, you have the shack here, and there, I think there's a little dip over here as well that you can play from. If you can go up here, and because there's no reason for Space Station to push out of their compound, right? So they wouldn't push uphill towards you. So if they can sit up here and clear their entire south, should the next circle go north, because even if the circle goes south down here, you would expect SSG to stay down the hill, because they cannot push up with all these teams sitting on the northern side. They would just be shooting at them. So if Ghost can clear out Oxy and then take control on the plateau up here, that'd actually be in a really, really good spot. The only issue is you pretty much have this road cutting everything off. And now you see K-Mind and Profi, they made their way up. Smoking Aces trying to do the same thing. They know the importance. If you can get center, might as well try and do it. One team got eliminated up here. Not quite sure exactly who it was. I think it was White Sim Fate, right? Oh no, they're over here. It just looked like a blue-ish team. Let's just go back and see who it was. Oh, it's Tempo Storm. Ah, they tried to push down and they got killed. So Profi gets in, he gets that position. K-Mine comes in as well. Nice playing by those two guys. Only being two guys alive and opting to go that center. That's really smart play. But they also came up at an angle where they had an easy chance to scout, and there's no one contesting them. So even though you had players all around seemingly on the map, they actually had a pretty safe passage over towards the shack. Endemic forced in on foot. I mean, it's a hell when you're 4 teams up here trying to fight off each other, and they all know that as soon as this fight is over, with the blue closing in, they're going to be forced to fight all these teams that are both down the hill shooting up at them, and all the teams on the other side can shoot over as well. So it's going to be absolute horse poop for all of these teams trying to make their way in, really. Ghost decides to stay on their little gutter down here. Endemic gets completely annihilated as soon as they come over the hill. SSG, well, I guess they're not going to complain about their position in this circle. But what you can complain about is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams all having to, well, either become really good friends and share this little plateau up here, or fight like crazy, or send YOLO down the hill. But I believe all of them, maybe with the exception of Ghost and Cloud9, Profit drove a car. Okay, might drove a car over there. They might still have it. It could be popped. I don't know. But they had a car around here. Ghost had their vehicle down here as well. So if they're really desperate, they can try and send it in. But that's, I mean, there's a 99% chance that's not going to really give them anything. All these guys forced to fight on the southern side. Shoot to kill. They've been chilling up here on the northern side for a while. They'll be able to continue to do so, at least for a little while. Now I believe they have like a little dip going down this way. Up here that they can play from. Ghost actually survives that. Surprising that so many teams. What is it with these shifts? Wow. Okay, so Ghost gets one more. They can stay on the plateau. Nice rotation from shoot to kill. I like it. I like it. I like it. They see all the commotion. They see the action in the kill feed. And they're like, well, there's no reason for us to try and push down in the compound. There's teams there. They just got shot at from Clamp up on the hill. They don't know if he's a solo or not. So they say, you know what, let's just go down and try and take the plateau down here, because there's nothing to play from out on this side. So they go out, try to push up and over. They're 4 guys strong, still keep that in mind. Ballard goes down instantly. McCoy, boom, dead as well. And yeah, they play smart off of it. Really, really, really smart play from shoot to kill. Now though, as you can see, SSG, they have, some might argue, the better position in this circle. But where's it going to end? Around here somewhere. So all they have to do is sit down here in their sit down here in their houses and wait for shoot to kill to come falling down the road or down the hill. Circle's gonna close. Wait, it doesn't have to center? Has it been like this ever since we started? I mean, look at the way this circle shrinks. It's as if the center is down here. It doesn't have to go dead center anymore. Because if it had to go center, it would have shrunk way more centered, you know? Like with this over here as well. Huh. I thought the circles had to go dead center. I guess they don't anymore. I'm pretty sure this is the last phase. Like death phase. Oh, maybe it isn't. Oh, no. I know what it is. I know what it is. If the game, it's this program. If the game ends, because the game never shows the next circle when the game is over, you know? Because the game ended. There's one more. It's because there's one more phase after this one. That's why. I was like, wait, what? But it's because the game ends before this circle connects. So we're never really shown where the next circle will go. That's why. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. That was just me getting confused for no reason there. I was like, interesting. Anyway, that's game number 2 in the books. We'll jump straight on over game number 3 of the day. So if we go like this, we'll just refresh real quick. Go, game 3, solo, show. Also, again, guys in the chat, if you have any questions, do feel free to ask. That is part of why I'm doing this. It's half because I like to watch the games. I mean, I watch the games on stream, and then I like to sit in here and go over them as well. So in the case that I have to cast them someday, well, I know a little more about the teams than if I didn't. If I didn't watch these games, that is. So, game number 3. Coming in hot. Playing west to east, straightforward, not a whole lot to it, to be honest. Circle, east coast this time, well, somewhat east coast, eastern at least, this time around. We saw last game, nobody looted. Well, pretty much from Junkyard up to Torraumata, nobody really looted this entire section of the map. This time around, it's the same. Playing allowed for it, but I don't think there's a designated team that loots up here unless if the plane goes like this or something like that. I don't think a lot of teams really like to jump out and around. I think I've seen Noble up in this area once before or twice before, but now you see they're jumping out far west coast. So Noble is one of those teams that'll do that, right? They'll just adapt to the plane. Wildcard have the same thing, at least on Erangel, where they will either go up to Stalber or all the way down towards Primorsk. But now let's see. Circle is eastern. You don't want to drive through Saint Martin or Saint Martin. So, I mean, this whole section becomes a no-go. Don't want to drive through, pretty much. I mean, you really don't want to drive through here at all, actually. So between San Martin and Picado, you can do it, but that's dangerous. Let's make a big line there. And of course, you don't want to be coming through Los Leones either. So we can make a line here. This is just entry points to the circle, right? But other than that, you can pretty much go through anywhere. So it's not that bad. But I would assume to see most people go either far around the southern side or make the way either way up and come in from the east, like way up and over Sierra Bronca in from the east, or well, they could cut down anywhere they wanted here, or just in from the northern side. It's really not a whole lot to it, but priority compounds would be the splits over and around here. You could sit down by Junkyard. You could take the high ground positions up there. You don't want to sit down here. Also, the high ground position down around El Asaha, around the little peak there is on the hillside down here. And there are plenty of areas to play from. So the thing we had before where, oh no, you cannot play center because it's so diverse in terrain. It's still diverse here, but it's really all about one mountain ridge, allowing you to sit in multiple other spots. So it should be rather straightforward for most teams to rotate on in here. But as I said, we'd assume to see most teams go either far south or around the northern side. See the Series already making their way down. SSG and Whites and Fade going up and over. United coming from the southern side. Shoot to Kill already taking the spot we just talked about. Up and over comes Wildcard, comes Whites and Fade. South is the Series. New circle pops. I mean, this is the kind of timing you want to have on your rotation. If you're Losarius, he just gets inside the circle. As soon as a new one pops, boom, you're already ready to go, right? Unfortunately, so were a lot of other teams. But it's pretty smart for them to hawk the eastern coast this way around. Smart rotation from them. And again, I mean, you can see how much we can cut a line. We pretty much do like this, honestly, because nobody landed east coast or northeast, that is, and the circle. Well, the first circle went east, but the next one really hard shifted out there. Because of that, there's so much room over here. So if you're Wildcard, honestly, just send it straight down to the gas station. Do something similar. Just go all the way down here. I mean, you wanna come in from the east because you have to know that this entire area of the circle is open. One thing though that you have to keep in mind, that there's water here, and if you follow this little line right here, we can just stop it right there. So if we draw it like this. This up here is the exact same thing as over here where you have the shadows. You cannot sit there. It's out of bounds, kind of like in golf. You cannot. It's unplayable. It's not accessible by any means. So it will be shifted away from when water comes, like with the water circle in circle 4, and yeah, it's inaccessible. So the rotation route wouldn't be as wide, because normally when you have these eastern shifts, what you want to do, had it been anywhere else in the map, is you want to come out and get in from the opposite side of the circle, right? But you can't really do that here to the same extent, because you're limited by the hazards, if we're to keep talking in golf terms. Wildcard does do exactly what we just said, down towards the gas station area down there. Continues further, has a 3-way split. Now this is dangerous, because you see immediately as the new circle pops, it has to go away from water, and as soon as it pops, wildcard, I mean, this 3-way split, it's nice. It gives them a lot of ground control, a lot of control of, well, the circle. But now every single player on the southern side, on the northwestern side, are going to be trying to get inside the circle. You see VG rotating far out, Endemic doing the exact same thing. They would want to get inside this circle as fast as they can, because of course we're getting later in the game, doing more damage and stuff, and they have to be prepared to fight. Only issue here is El Azhar, not really a place you want to go. I have a bad feeling that we could have an end game up there at some point. But on the southern sides down here, you have a lot of dips and areas to play from, but you're kind of forced to take them on foot. So come up here, smash your vehicle, and then start running in, because you know, if you're one of the first teams to get up here, there's going to be a lot of teams coming up behind you. Let's just slow it down a little, actually, so we can get more of control of what's happening. So Wildcard decides 2-2 split. Smart. Don't want to sit so or spread so thinly. VG on the northern side comes around. We have 4 teams at this point inside El Azhar, and because of the terrain, there's a little more room for teams to split out up here. Circle now. Wow. Okay, so at hard shift south, away from the city we go. Expect to see Tumai and Extreme make their way back down towards their teammates. It's kind of a crappy compound down here, because it's in the dip. I believe it's at is that the compound? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So it's in the gutter, kind of, on the side of the road. It's very hard to really scout anything from down there. It's not that easy to really play from. I mean, you can play from it in the sense that you have hard cover. It's just you cannot really see anything else. So if the next circle goes down here, they're kind of screwed. So maybe if they get Extreme and 2-Mai down here, then they can send one guy up on the hill to kind of try and look further. Because there's like multiple plateaus here that it's really, really hard to play from. You see, look at the concentration of players. You have everybody with we have 13 teams. I'll make that, well, yeah, 12 teams over here. Not exactly easy to well, to honestly do anything. They all have to get inside the circle somehow. It's too late in the game that you can do these far white and blue rotations. So you're pretty much forced to just take fights all the way through. Look at the amount of players. You still have 50 players alive in circle 5. That's insane. That's going to go far down. 46, 45, 44, 43. I mean, everybody's just getting picked off. 39. We just lost 14, 15 players. Make that 17 players killed in one, not just one full circle, in one closing of a circle. We lost 17 players and 3 teams. That's insane. And now going away from the compound, as you can see, Wildcard, they will have to push up the hill, and this is very open and very hard to play around. So good luck for all the teams trying to fight up and around here. It's pretty much, I mean, there's not so much you can talk. Well, there is much you can talk about, but as far as rotations, like working off of a map stream, it's these areas of the map. One thing is that we can't see the exact curvature of all the terrain. Another thing is that it's just a really horrible place to sit. You can try and do what Smoking Aces do, send 2 guys center and hope that they can get some circles, because then you will have everyone else forced to fight on the edge, and you kind of, these 2 are kind of your safety cards that you send in. They can lay low, and then even if Crow and Define legit dies out on the edge, you still have these 2 guys that with a 90% chance will be inside the next circle, and hopefully by the time they die, a lot of other teams will have fought as well. So you see, they actually do get the hard shift down there. Shoot to Kill moves up north. Fortunate for them. Shoot to Kill were the first team to get over here. So fortunate for them that they've been able to stay put for this long. Smoking Aces now with a wide 2-2 split. They have still got Crow and Define way down the hill down there, so they make their push back on up. Huge kill now getting forward. Smoking Aces sitting dead center. Okay, that's pretty nifty position for them to be placed in. Alex from Lasarius wants to make his run in, but Wildcard on the northern side have to flank around the top side. And then, I mean, look at the spread from Smoking Aces. They just have full circle control. And now at this point, I mean, of course you don't want to overextend. You don't want to get greedy because, well, I mean, there's only 2 teams left. And, but the way they're splitting, they're playing the edge right there. Completely perfect. Takedown extreme. Sitting together. Cherry gets a little off by himself. Isolated, but in the end, Tumai goes down as well. So really smart, smartly played from Smoking Aces. A little scary that they kept Crow and Defiant down there for so long, but I believe what happened was that even though they would want to help with the high ground position to look down south, they knew that there would be a huge push coming in from the north. So they would have Crow and Defiant down here, hold the southern side so that they could push up once they knew that they have their entire backside clear, push on up their teammates, take it from there. And then they were fortunate to get a couple of circles in the end, but overall, extremely smart play from them. That was game number 3. And if again, I mean, I tend to sometimes go over this a little too fast. So guys out in the chat or in the comments on YouTube, if you think we're doing this too quickly, if there's something you would want to get more in depth, what do you say, breakdown of, please just let me know. That's why we're doing this. Let me know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Game number 4. Oink. Game number 4. Let me see. Lige fortæl mig, hvordan du får... Jeg forstår ikke, hvad du mener. Genshin. I do not understand your question. Also, feel free to ask in English, because it might be something that other people would want to know as well. Anyway, while you're figuring out how to write your question, I'll continue with what we're doing. Game number 4, back to Wrangle we go. Straightforward, Noble will go up towards Severny. Circle is southwestern this time around. Last time it was, well, it wasn't eastern, but central southern. This time around, a little chance it could go military, and a big chance that it won't. And teams spreading out the way they want to. United sees this circle, so they won't go that deep. But they will go back, nonetheless, to their split. Just won't cut it that far out. You see no Lipovka this time around. Ghosts will get looted up, make their way on inside the circle. How do you find the into that website? You need the match ID? No, you don't. You just, there it says events, and the events has all the games, so it's pretty straightforward. There's, I think there's a player something, match something, and events, and you just press the events thing. More attention on Tempo Storm, for sure, for sure. Let's see what Tempo Storm is doing. They're doing their Tempo Storm split. As some teams like, oh, it's just Gatka split, really. But, it's the same as Night split has become the Eastern split, and Tempo Storm split has become the Gatkan split. They're kind of doing it, and then people credit them for it. Makes sense. I don't want to only look at Tempo Storm, but I'll look at them as well. I'll look at them as well, for sure, for sure. So Eastern Circle, if we have to go over really quickly, what's good here, what's good in the hood, you know, you can play from the forest area down here. You can get a ton of control and rotate further forward later on. I would probably want to see, if you were to split anywhere, put 2 guys or 1 guy down in this compound, and then have 1 or 2 guys up in the forest area that you can use to scout further forward. If not, then I mean, even where Dre is and the compounds down and around here easily. Not, oh no, not yellows. Don't want to sit down there. Pachinki Hill, Zigzag or Snake, whatever you want to call it, down here. Smurfs compound. You have the hillside above the compound on the southeastern side, the entire forest area. I mean, there's plenty of areas you can play from. The entire sort of hill mountain formation thingy over here as well, you can play from. So plenty of areas to play from, and very easy to rotate to, most importantly. You could even maybe see some teams going over military to then go back over, but that's a risky one, so probably won't see a whole lot of that. Does anyone want a bridge camp? I'm not sure if anyone would want to waste their time doing that. Doesn't seem like it either. So Tempo Storm take the split down here. Makes perfect sense. And everyone else starts rotating on in. Not a whole lot to it. This is, I mean, because the western side of Irankle is so open, I mean, you have so many fields. It means that it's very easy to scout very far. You also have the big swamp area down here. It's very easy to scout very far. So you can easily do those leapfrog things. You saw in Demic, they started up in Georgia Bowl. They go far down the west coast, go to the hill, go up, scout forward, go up, scout forward. That way they can make their way in. Whereas on Irankle, it can be on Miramar, sorry, it can be extremely tricky to do something similar because you never really, I mean, there are so many hills in front of you, so many mountains, so you can't see that far up and ahead. So even if you just leave your compound to go to the next one, you can be like, oh my god, there are teams over here we didn't notice, and then you get screwed over by it. So much easier to do those sort of scout rotate kind of rotations on Irankle than Miramar. So Western Circle once more. Tempo Storm could ditch their compound to go up on the hillside. They haven't heard any vehicle rotations up and over behind them. They must have heard Tumai down here, so they know the southern compound is taken. But they could leave the compound to go up the hill, or just say, you know what, we're gonna stay down here. They have Sharky up on the top side, and they have Sampa up there too. Maybe send them up in the hills instead, and then have Dre and Maluk sit down in the compound. For anyone else, you have a huge field. Again, you don't want to get trapped inside these fields, or in these fields. Of course, you have the small force shack down there that you can sit in, but you do not want to get trapped in a field. That's a death sentence. Your vehicles will be exploded, and you're going to die. So what teams will most likely opt to do is either rotate over and try and just crash, or go as far inside the forest. Can't drive down here. So go as far inside the forest as possible. This entire thingy right here. Go as far inside there, or go all the way over on the northern side and try and go down to the shoreline and crash in from the west side. Because it's a western shift, you know that most people were sitting up center around here, meaning that this we see right here should be all the traffic jams trying to get on over this way. Let's see what happens. Teams going in. Nobody wants to be stuck inside the fields. K-Mind, Nerve and Company have a 2-2 split. Makes kind of sense. Reparking some vehicles, but they have an easy way to cover them. Holy cow, did Ghost just 4-man pull up on that? Nope, okay, so they didn't. And K-Mind and Nerve says, you know what? Nope, that was too scary for comfort. Let's just go back up. No reason for us to sit on the fields like that. So they start driving further. They keep their split, guys, in Tempo Storm. VG, they're in the blue now. They have to figure out what they want to do, because E United just kept them from their rotation. You see, they wanted to go down and below, but once E United started shooting this way, they realized that's going to be too risky. Can't really go that direction. Now Circle goes south, and this is where you can start predicting things, because water, next Circle has to exclude it, meaning there's only so many places it can go. This compound is open for whatever reason. Nobody really opted to go down there. Should be taken within a couple of seconds. At least for us, we're going ×8 speed. So obviously within a couple of minutes for the guys down there. And the entire hilltop up here is available as well. But it can be kind of hard to defend, especially if you're not 4 guys alive. Still, we have lost 5 players already. So if you're down to 3 players, it can be kind of hard to spread out and take control of such a big area. It's not that easy to play from. It's very easy to get third-partied when you're up there. So if you're not 4 guys up with really good indication of where everyone else is, it can be extremely tough to play from that hillside. So everyone, again, trying to rotate around the sides, coming in from the southern side. The entire forest area is playable, but not going to be easy with so many teams trying to make their way down. And also you have this kind of plateau in between this area over here and the southern compound down here, where it's just really open. I mean, it's really open around here. There are trees, sure, but if you're covering, like if you're behind a tree, this is you standing behind the tree, cover it from up here, the guys down here will see you. So you can't really play it like that. So if we call this no man's land, then you have this available. Shack, no go. You have the hillsides up here. And you have the compound. That's just about what you have available. And then far out on the edge of, obviously, you have the forest down here as well. So we'll see all these teams. And that's the issue, right? Because nobody can make their move in until SSG has made their move. You cannot just drive through the team. So you have to sort of wait your turn. And now you can see VG, they're trying to go all the way underneath. E United, they do the Scout Arena, figure out this compound is open. Smart play by them. I would assume to see the circle go far north. Maybe it won't. Yep, it does go up to a Tempo Storm. There you go. A team that you wanted to focus on. And now they're sitting well in it. Sampa is all by himself in the one story. And then he has his teammates down here. And there's nobody on the hillsides whatsoever. That's a little interesting, actually. We talked about, again, how this area here is a no-go. So this being open with still 45 players alive, you can see how many people are crammed out on the edges. It's very tricky for all these people to really get anywhere. Let's see now. Endemic does manage to make their way up towards the hillside, so you can see Tempo Storm is going to do the same thing and realize, you know what, it's not really worth it for us to sit around in this area. Now K-Mines and company, they're smashing it in to into city. Adam tried to do the same thing, not gonna work. Back up the hill we go. So once again, this is where it's all going down. For those of you guys who don't know, there's a big uphill around here. So for teams that are up here fighting each other, they won't really be able to focus on what's going on the southern side. And you can see as well here that Ghost, I mean, somehow Cloud9 managed to make that pull up without losing a single player. And Ghost is down to just Balog alive. Wildcard, still 2 players live over on the Snake compound. And their job is going to be either A, make your way up here and find a place to lay low, because there are only 2 players alive, right? Or use the hard cover and try and hold off anyone else. But the more time you spend sitting down here shooting, the more time you give teams like Tempo Storm up on the top to spread out and take full control in case the next circle does not include this compound. So it's kind of a risky play to stick around. But at the same time, with them only being 2 players alive, they don't really have a lot of other options. And you can see already now, Tempo Storm is doing exactly that. Get up on the top, get control. More teams getting crashed in. I think 3 teams just try to crash in within 1.5 circle. E United, Cloud9, Lasarius all going in. And Balak has got to be. Wait, I didn't invite that many people to my compound. What's going on here? Tempo Storm, smart split. Maluk staying on the backside to make sure that nobody's pushing. And you can also see around the ridge. You can look in this direction to try and keep that clear. And make sure that nobody's coming around the corner here. So he'll sit and hold the backside while the 3 other players are kind of focused on... I mean, they heard all the fire, right? They heard all the shots being fired, so they're going to focus on what's going on down here on the southern side. Sampa coming over, sitting at 2-2 instead of a 3-1. Makes perfect sense. And they're just helping out each other. I mean, they're holding this entire side, trying to contain the compound. Now that's over and done with. They can turn their focus elsewhere. They know now that nobody else is going to come up from down here. So now they can make their, put their focus on what's happening on the western side instead. It's just picture perfect. I mean, it makes perfect sense how they're playing. Now, you know, Lasarius and Noble start fighting. They want a third party this, but at the same time, make sure that nobody pushes out from the compound. Lopes gets spotted. And I mean, there's no way in hell that Tempo Storm isn't winning this. Tempo Storm plays is extremely smart. You can see they're just running over people. As soon as they have the numbers, as long as they are 4 together, sometimes even 3, but it works much better for them when they're 4, obviously. When they get a chance to, in the late game, be 4 together, and they can spread out and take control, they just tend to overrun people. And that's the exact same thing they do here. As soon as they made their way up, we just follow Tempo Storm for a second. As soon as they made their way up from down here, because they've been sitting down here for a long time, right? Sampa was the one that set up in the compound in the house on the northern side. So as soon as Sampa gets up here, they have 0 vision, 0 knowledge of what's happening here. 0 knowledge. They might know that Wildcard is over in the compound because people were fighting earlier, or they'll expect it at least. But they have no knowledge where anyone else is. And now they come up, now they have to scout, and they just played super smart off of it. So really, really good job by Tempo Storm to win that game. And also for Wildcard, the fact that they don't get together earlier is a little surprising to me. They're sitting in a very thin 2-2 split. And at this point, with 41 players alive and the circle shifting up to them like this, they have to realize, okay, this circle is going to come to us. There's going to be people coming to Tuma and Pride. They never really get a chance to run out. Extreme and Sharpshot, that's the thing. They're not in a position where they can help. You have this hillside that goes up like this. So that prevents them from being able to spot over. Extreme tries to go down here to see if he can help anything. Not at all in a position to do anything from the glass house down here, because you can only really see the broken wall out and around here. So they're in a split where, I mean, they have plenty of circle control, but in case one of them gets breached or pushed, as we see here with Cloud9, there's no way in hell that he can do anything to help his teammates. So it's not really as much as it's a good info split that you can do early on in the game, it really screws them over now that it's not the early game anymore, because they're so thinly split. Had they been 4 guys together, I don't think Cloud9 would have been able to push through the way that they did. Had they been 4 guys over here, they could have tried pushed up later and taken the fight with Tempo Storm as well, but it didn't work. Or they could even have had 2 guys sit up here and anticipate the Tempo Storm push when they came up from the northern side. So a lot of things they could have done that they didn't. But it's a matter of seconds. I mean, that's how PUBG is sometimes. Even though the games can be up to a half hour long, sometimes they come down to that 1 or 2 second. Had we rotated back to our team earlier, that wouldn't have been an issue. But unfortunately, not quite the case. So that is gonna do it for day 1 of the NPL matches here in week number 3. I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next